demonstration. Kamala Harris says she has her own policies, not Biden. Also, Beyoncé will be joining her on stage at a Kamala Harris rally tomorrow, Friday, in Houston, Texas. But before we get started with this demonstration, let me read my copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. What that means is that everything that you hear in this demonstration is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Everything that you hear in this video that I call a demonstration is only the opinions of mine and others. Everything that you hear in this demonstration is only allegedly. Salute to the replay gang. Salute to everybody that's watching from the clouds. Salute to my moderators. Salute to you, him, and her. Salute to all of my subscribers, old, new, all my subscribers all over the world. Salute to the whole Rock Squad. 2 weeks away from the 2024 presidential election. Two candidates that are still standing from the Democrat Party side, Kamala Harris. From the Republican side, Donald Trump. One of them has to win. One of them has to lose. It cannot be a tie, okay? So, as they keep stressing, make sure you go out and vote. Me, I disagree with that. However, I will respect it. And I'll talk to y'all later on in this demonstration. So make sure y'all hang around. I'll talk to y'all later on in this demonstration about why I feel like we shouldn't be pressured to go out and vote. If we don't want to vote, we just don't want to vote. And many of us don't want to vote. Many don't want to vote for either one of them. So I think that we shouldn't be pressured to go out and vote. But let's jump into this demonstration. Now, many people over here on the platform has raised the opinions of when Kamala, if she wins and if she becomes the president, she's not going to bring in no new policies. She's not going to have no new ideas when she become the president. She's only going to be riding off of Joe Biden's policies. She answered all of us. So let's jump to that real quick and I'll come back and I'll get into my commentary. But let's jump into it. Now, this is an interview with Anderson Cooper. Shout out to Anderson Cooper. This was an interview with Anderson Cooper. Shout out to Anderson Cooper.
How can we expect you to deviate from the direction of that administration compared to your own? How can we differentiate your policy and your beliefs from that of Biden's?
That's a great question, and thank you. Well, first of all, my administration will not be a continuation of the Biden administration. I bring to this role my own ideas and my own experience. I represent a new generation of leadership on a number of issues and believe that we have to actually take new approaches. For example, what we talked about in terms of housing. My experience that leads to that priority includes what I did to take on the big banks around the foreclosure crisis when I brought billions of dollars to homeowners that were the subject of predatory lending. I know what homeownership means to the American people, not to mention what it meant to my mother, who worked very hard and saved up so that by the time I was a teenager, she was able to buy our first home.
Let me stop right there. Nola says, I'm not voting this election. Drop a 1 in the chat if you believe in what Kamala has just said. Drop a 1. She says it's time for new ideas. She says it's time for a change. In my opinion, yes, she's definitely correct. I do agree with her when she speak about it's time for a change. It's time for new ideas. However, is this just some BS, or can we expect her to make the changes that this country needs? Can we expect her to go through with these policies that she is promising? Salute, Leslie. Salute, Leslie.
I bring to it my experience actually taking care of my mother when she was sick, and it was, as it turned out, dying from cancer. And so I know what it means and have the experience of taking care of an elderly relative, and I have raised children. And so
That right there. Salute 80s, baby. Salute 80s, baby. Now, she said that she has raised children. Now, y'all know I don't like to do no reaching. I don't like to do no reaching. Just because she says she has raised children, she didn't clarify and say that she raised her own children. She did say she has raised children. Some people are, trying to trip her up and say that, I thought you said you ain't had no children. Salute, Tracy. Salute, Tracy. So I don't see anything wrong with what she said as far as she says she has raised children. That don't necessarily mean she's talking about children of her own. But y'all let me know down there in the chat and also on the replay how y'all feel about what she said about her raising children. Leslie says nope, because the George Floyd Act bill still sitting in dust. That's facts. That's facts, Leslie. And she's going to get into a lot of these in this demonstration. So I'm going to just let it play. Let's let it play.
I know what it means and have the experience of taking care of an elderly relative, and I have raised children. And so I bring to my priorities and will, as president, a new approach and a new idea, frankly, about what we need to do to deal with the sandwich generation, which is what we call those folks who are literally in the middle, who are raising their young children and taking care of their parents, which is why my plan and approach says, hey, you shouldn't have to wipe out all your savings to qualify for Medicaid to be able to get support to hire somebody to help you cook for your parent or help them put on a sweater. I've done that. I know what that requires. You shouldn't have to quit your job in order to do the work that is necessary to take care of your children and your parent, because it's overwhelming to try to do it all. And so my plan is to have and allow Medicare to cover the cost of home health care for our seniors. These are a couple of examples, including what we talked about in terms of price gouging and what we need to do in addition. And it's a new approach that I think is well overdue. Let's invest in the small businesses of America. The woman who helped raise us was a small business owner. I know who small business owners are. I know what they do. They are the backbone of America's economy. And for too long, we've overlooked their value to the economy as a whole, much less to the economy of neighborhoods and communities. So that's why my plan, and it's a new approach, is about tax cuts for our small businesses.
Let's chop it up about her tax cut for small businesses. She's making reference that she definitely sees and she feels like, they are the backbone of the communities. So she wants to make it easier. She wants to make it a little better. So that's what her tax cuts are about. Once again, we've heard many of politicians before her time. We've heard many of them come to us, make us these promises, sell us these dreams. But if they still have to go through the House, if any of these bills that they are trying to pass has to go through the House of Congress, then who are we really voting for? And this is one of my reasons. This is one of my reasons that I never voted, because I understood it, and I understood it for exactly what it was. So you mean to tell me we got a president? Now you mean to tell me the president supposed to be the leader of the country, right? Y'all help me out now. The president's supposed to be the leader of this country. But the president still has to go through the House of Congress to get these bills passed? What exactly is the president's job? Let's stay right there. What exactly is the president's job? Remember, America is a company. America is a LLC. So what are we fussing and arguing and fighting for over who's going to be the next president when the president, regardless of whom it is, president don't got no pull. President don't got no power. That's just a food for thought, y'all.
So that they can invest in themselves and grow, and in the process, invest in communities, invest in neighborhoods, and strengthen our economy overall. So those are some examples. It's about a new approach, a new generation of leadership based on new ideas and, frankly, different experiences. I bring a whole set of different experiences to this job and the way I think about it than Joe Biden.
Some voters, though, might ask, you've been in the White House for 4 years, you were vice president, not the president, but why wasn't any of that done?
Now, that's the $1 million question that I have along with everybody else. And she's going to get to it. You've been in the White House. You've been in there for 4 years, right? You've been in there for 4 years. Why haven't these things already been done? Leslie says, right. That's why we're not getting anything done. So you've been in there for 4 years. Now, Anderson Cooper, he's going to ask her about her being in the White House for 4 years already. Why hasn't any of these things been done? Let's see if she has a valid point. Let's find out if she has a valid point.
Voters, though, might ask, you've been in the White House for 4 years, you were vice president, not the president, but why wasn't any of that done for the last 4 years?
Well, there was a lot that was done, but there's more to do, Anderson. And I'm pointing out things that need to be done that haven't been.
All right, she said, well, there has been things done. It's still more to be done. Now, she didn't answer, well, look, I was the vice president. I'm still the vice president. It wasn't so much that I could do. Now, that's pretty much what many of you all that was answering the question before. Well, Shank, she the vice president and the vice president can't really do nothing. However, that's not what she said. That's not how she answered the question. She said, well, there has been a lot done. There's plenty more to be done. Got to pay attention to the wordplay, y'all. Listen now.
Done for the last 4 years.
Well, there was a lot that was done, but there's more to do, Anderson. And I'm pointing out things that need to be done, that haven't been done, but need to be done. And I'm not going to shy away from saying, hey, these are still problems that we need to fix.
I want you to meet Jackson Weiss, who's a student at Drexel University from Flourtown, Pennsylvania, registered Republican, says he's leaning toward voting for you, but has yet to make a final decision. Jackson.
Thank you, Anderson.
Hey, Jackson.
Thank you for taking the time to be here too, Vice
You
President
too,
Harris.
thank you.
Regarding the rapid increase in the migrant population, how will you ensure that every immigrant is integrated into American society safely? What benefits and subsidies will you provide them with, and how long will these benefits and subsidies last for an individual? Most importantly, will the American citizens' taxes pay for these benefits and subsidies? And if so, how much money will be allocated?
I think that's an excellent question. He's asking her about the immigrants. Let's see what she has to say about what she planned on doing with the immigrants. Let's listen, y'all. Salute, Cotan.
Well, thank you, Jackson. Let's start with this.
Salute, Mama Boo. Salute, Mama Boo. We want basic answers, Kamala. We don't want you to go around the barnyard bush. Just give us some basic answers. That's all.
America's immigration system is broken and it needs to be fixed. And it's been broken for a long time. And part of what we need to do is always prioritize what we need to do to strengthen our border. I will tell you, I'm the only person in this race among the two choices that voters have. I've personally prosecuted transnational criminal organizations in the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career making sure that our border is secure and that we do not allow criminals in and we don't allow that kind of trafficking to happen and come into our country. And as my opponent, has
See, this is what I'm keep stressing to everybody. When we're talking to you, and it's the same thing that goes for Trump. Salute Rico. Salute Rico. This the same thing go for Trump. It goes for both of them. Stop venturing off and trying to downplay the other. You see, now she wants to go into Trump. Trump don't got nothing to do with what you're going to be doing. Who cares about what Trump say he going to do? Vice versa. If Trump was answering this question, I would say the same thing to Trump. Who cares about what Kamala is going to be doing? We want to know what you are going to be doing. And this is what. Let me backtrack, y'all. Y'all know every time the jewels, I start dropping the jewels. Salute Samantha. Salute Samantha. Every time I start dropping the jewels, I experience the technical difficulty. But let's backtrack. Listen, y'all.
kind of trafficking to happen and come into our country.
My bad.
And as my opponent has proven himself, he would prefer to run on the problem instead of fix the problem. You may know there were some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress working with others that came up with a border security bill that would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border. Those border agents are overwhelmed. They need the support, they need the backup. It would have allowed us to have more resources to stem the flow of fentanyl. I don't need to tell this state and people around the country what is happening in terms of the scourge of fentanyl and how it is literally killing Americans.
Right.
It would have put
Salute, Londa, salute Londa. Right. But this has been going on for these 4 years that you've been in the White House, Kamala. So that should have been one of the main issues that y'all tackle. You said it yourself. Much have been done, but we still have much more to be done. The fentanyl crisis, that should have been on the top of the list. That needs to be taken care of. I Need a Nap says, how about we close the border to prevent fentanyl? Come on, Kamala. And once again, we are 2 weeks away from election. I don't want to hear you talk about Trump. Vice versa. I don't want to hear Trump talk about Kamala. Y'all done enough of that. I don't want to keep hearing you talk about Trump, Kamala.
resources into stemming the flow. It would have given more resources to prosecute, to investigate and prosecute transnational criminal organizations. It would have done a lot of good. Donald Trump got wind of the bill and told them, don't put it forward. He killed the bill because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. We have to have a secure border, and we have to have a comprehensive pathway for citizenship. And that includes requiring people, hardworking people, to earn citizenship and do it in a comprehensive, humane, and orderly manner.
Let me ask you about that. I mean, you talk about the bill that Donald Trump quashed, and that was in 2024. You talk about the bill he tried to get passed in 2021. That wasn't able to get passed. 2022, 2023, there were record border crossings. Your administration took a number, hundreds of executive actions. It didn't stem the flow. Numbers kept going up. Finally, in 2024, just in June, 3 weeks before the first presidential debate with Joe Biden, you institute executive actions that have dramatic impact, really shut down people crossing over. Why didn't your administration do that in 2022, 2023?
Exactly, y'all. Y'all peeped that, right? Y'all peeped that. Before I even let her answer it, y'all peeped that. Why all of a sudden now? See, it's the same way when she's doing the Harris opportunity agenda for black men. Why all of a sudden now? She, as he just said, the numbers have went down in 2024 about the border crossing. Why y'all ain't been take care of that? Samantha says, hey, you, T, you lie so bad, it's only you. You stop blaming everybody else and stop giving us all the, why did the tear down the stretch of wall Trump put in? It's like, come on, now you want to focus on these things. But in the very beginning, none of these things was focused on. Fentanyl, you mean to tell me fentanyl? You mean to tell me the illegal immigrants coming through? That should have been at the top of the charts, at the top of the list on what y'all should have been taking care of. But let's hear her again, y'all.
First of all, you're exactly right, Anderson. And as of today, we have cut the flow of immigration by over half. In fact, the numbers I saw most recently, illegal immigration
But if
is
it was
low.
that
But
easy
hold on,
with
let
that
me finish.
executive action, why not do it in 2022, 2023?
Because we were working with Congress and hoping that actually we could have a long-term fix to the problem instead of a short-term fix.
You couldn't have done one and both at the same time?
Well, here's the thing, we have to understand that ultimately this problem is gonna be fixed through congressional action. Congress has the authority and the purse, I hate to use DC terms, but literally they write the checks. Part of the issue is in order to really fix the problem at the border. I was just at the border recently talking with border agents. You know what they talk about? Yes, they are overwhelmed. They're working around the clock. And the other thing that they talk to me about, we need more judges down there to deal with asylum claims. We need more personnel down there to deal with processing. But Anderson, and that's where Congress kicks in terms of dedicating the resources to actually fixing the problem. We have dealt with it such that, to your point, we now, as of today, as of our visit, have
Wicks.
I don't know about y'all, but I ain't buying it. Like, you can get over on me, you could get me, but it just ain't gonna be that easy. You know what I mean? And then if you do get over on me, once I catch it, I'm getting rid of you. You get where I'm coming from? I'm not falling for it. I'm not falling for the BS, y'all. I'm not falling for the BS.
have lower undocumented immigrants and illegal immigration than Trump when he left office.
That's true.
But we need a permanent solution,
Do you
and that
wish you had
requires
done that?
bipartisan work.
Do you wish you'd done those executive orders in 2022, 2023?
I think we did the right thing, but the best thing that can happen for the American people is that we have bipartisan work happening, and I pledge to you that I will work across the aisle to fix this long-standing problem. I think the American people are demanding it on both sides of the aisle, and it's time we actually put the partisan approach to this aside. We know what can work.
Well, let's talk about this compromise bill that you want to pass if you're elected. You said that's going to be a priority. It includes $650 million in funding for the border wall. That's something Republicans wanted. That was part of the compromise. Under Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall.
There she go. There she go. Come on, man. Come on. There she go. It's like he don't want to talk about Trump. Notice his questions, he don't involve Trump at all in his questions to her. However, she just always goes to Trump. Stop going to Trump. Come on. He wants your answer, your opinion, your perspective on the border wall, not Trump. Not Trump.
In funding for the border wall, that's something Republicans wanted. That was part of the compromise. Under Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall. So remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on, they didn't. How much of that wall did he build? I think the last number I saw was about 2%. And then when it came time for him to do a photo op, you know where he did it? In the part of the wall that President Obama built.
But you're agreeing to a bill
on.
that would earmark $650 million to continue building that wall.
I pledge that I am going to bring forward that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure our border. Yes, I am. And I'm going to work across the aisle to pass a comprehensive bill that deals with a broken immigration system. I think Jackson's question, part of it was to acknowledge that America has always had migration, but there needs to be a legal process for it. People have to earn it. And
That's what we've been saying. That's what he asked. That's the part of the question. Now, y'all help me out. How much has the administration, how much has her and Biden's administration, how much have they given the illegal immigrants? Help me out. Less than 24 hours in California, in New York, immigrants are receiving benefits in less than 24 hours. Benefits that legal immigrants never was given. See, we could take the American people off the table. We could take black Americans off the table. We could take white Americans off the table. Let's just keep the immigrants on the table for right now. Illegal immigrants and the legal immigrants. Is it fair to all of the immigrants that done it the right way and didn't get what the illegal immigrants are getting? Is it fair to those legal immigrants? No, it's not fair at all. Hundreds of legal immigrants, thousands of legal immigrants came to this country with nothing. With nothing. They worked hard. Nothing was given to them. Everything that they get, they work hard for it, right? So if those immigrants could do it, why these can't do it? Now, these are under Biden and Harris's administration. And she said it. She said it. Much have gotten done. Yeah, we know that. And like Anderson called her out, he called her out and said, well, it seems like your administration got the numbers down in a short period of time. Well, yeah, we was. She started laughing. She started fumbling with her words. See, and this is why I say I want to deal with policies. I want to deal. I don't want to look all that going back and forth. Trump roasting her. She roasting Trump. Trump tearing her down. She tearing that Trump. We heard all of that. I don't want to hear it no more. We 2 weeks away from election. It's time to get down to the nitty gritty. So as y'all can see, they have the power to stop the fentanyl crisis. They have the power to stop the illegal immigrants from crossing over. They got the power. But if you notice, they solve the problems when they want to solve the problems, when it's beneficial to them. Like I said, her and Obama calling out black men, that was the worstest thing that either one of them could have done. She really didn't call us out. She, presented the Harris opportunity agenda for us. She didn't call us out. But when Obama called black men out, that was the worstest thing you could have done. And sure, there are black men that's voting for her, sure. But that was the worst thing that you could ever done. Don't try to make nobody feel guilty. Don't try to make nobody feel like they have to vote for you just because of your sex, your gender, or just because of your nationality. I don't care if you blacker than Kunta Kinte. I don't gotta vote for you. I don't care how woman you are. I don't have to vote for you. I vote for who I want to vote for. And like I said, the only thing that made me want to vote was I felt bad that there were people that gave up their lives, freedom, men, women, and small children was out there marching and protesting so we could have the right to vote. That's the only thing that I was going to be voting for. Because I felt bad. Outside of that, I think it's all BS. And I have that right to say that. I'm not going to come before y'all and force y'all. I heard Steve Harvey today on the radio. Steve, let it go, man. Just let it go. We can vote for who we want to vote for. The same way that you feel about Donald Trump, we can have the opposite feeling for Donald Trump. It's all right. The same way you feel about Kamala, we don't got to feel that way about Kamala. We grown men. You can't pressure me to vote for somebody because you tell me to vote for them. Is you crazy? Come on. It's so much with both candidates It's the good, the bad, and ugly with both candidates. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? I can tell you what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a country that is literally burning. I'm talking about a country that don't know right from wrong. That's what I'm talking about. But to make anybody feel bad, to try to make anybody feel bad because they don't vote for who you vote for, nah, you can't do that to me. I've been ganked before. Give me a minute, y'all. Salute Miss Groovy. Salute Miss Groovy. But I remember not long ago, if y'all remember not long ago, Steve Harvey was campaigning for Trump. But because that meeting didn't go the way that Steve Harvey wanted it to go, then he started bashing Trump. Y'all remember? All right, let's check this out, y'all. I see y'all down there in the chat. Give me a minute to get back to the chat. I see y'all.
Illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but do you, just a number, do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have
It's a
an
rough
immigration
estimate of 6
system
million people
that
have been
needs to be-
released into the country. And let me just finish, I'll get to the question, I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came
May
in
I
ship for
please
the
finish?
yes,
May
ma'am.
I finish responding,
But
please?
you,
All right, that was right from the beginning. It was tense, and it continued. At one point, Harris, visibly angry, she was railing against Trump and his threat to target what he has called the enemy from within.
He is the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
we asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest man. No, it's true. We've got to think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
he was asked
No, that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to
That was the
you,
question that we asked him.
he didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the President of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. And this is what is at stake.
All right, the clenched teeth, the passion, Harris not backing down from a fight. And, you know, you talk about an interview like this, nearly 30 minutes. There's a reason she chose to do this, and there is a lot at stake in an election that the polls show to be neck and neck. So the question is, what did this interview do, and did it win Harris any new votes? All right, and everyone is here with me now to talk about that. So let me ask you about that, Congressman Rose. What do you think in terms of her doing this? I mean, she went in this eyes wide open. I mean, so let's just say, I don't know how much time Brett Baer was given in the interview, but he didn't start off with a general question. He started right in on immigration, and she came right back. I mean, there was no sort of pretense at geniality.
It was no build-up.
No.
No. And, you know, we had a fascinating conversation about 30 minutes ago, right? You know, because this is fresh. You know, this was an hour ago. And my friend is saying, this was horrible. It was horrible. She did horribly, this and that. I thought that was an absolute home run. Because the audience...
This friend right here, next to you that you're talking about?
This friend right here. Oh my God, it was a fire, it was a massacre. No, that was a home run. Because she sent the one message that needs to be sent, which was, I will go anywhere at any time and show the courage necessary to speak to every American, because that's what a real president does. The primary critique against her prior to this point was that she was not doing enough interviews. No one thought that the Fox News interview was going to go swimmingly every step of the way. Everyone knew it would be adversarial, but she showed exactly what she needed to show, which was that she is a leader ready to be president on the
Did he just convince you?
No, and I love Max. He's a great guy. The reality is she's just now doing this. I told the former congressman, if I were advising the vice president, I would not have advised this unless my internals suggested that I was in trouble. You're looking to appeal to, I assume, some maybe moderate-leaning Republicans, maybe some Republicans who aren't necessarily tied to the former president. I don't think she's persuaded them, Aaron, to vote for her in this debate. Her answers on immigration, she said, well, Donald Trump tanked the bill. Let's say you believe that. And Brett Baer said, well, what about the first 2 years, where in the first 2 years you had the highest crossings of illegal crossings into the country?
And that's what I've been saying. Salute positive vibes. Salute. That's what I'm saying. The first 2 years, you ain't do nothing. Nothing for the first 2 years. Now, all of a sudden, here you come doing what you should have already done. These are things that was supposed to had already been done. But my man, he's saying the same thing that I've been saying. Let's go back to my man.
And then she said, but Donald Trump, she didn't answer. He then asked, well, what about your position on supporting taxpayer dollars for gender transition for those detained, migrants that is? She said, well, Donald Trump had a similar law when he was president. Brett said, okay, that's fair, Madam Vice President, but it didn't occur under the Trump administration. What about your position? She didn't answer it. There were a lot of...
Same thing that I said, y'all. Same thing I said. She don't answer nothing. Everything she answered it with Trump. Trump, Trump, Trump. We tired of hearing about Trump, but it goes both ways. Now, when we discussing Trump, we don't want to keep hearing you Trump talk about Kamala. But this demonstration, we ain't discussing Trump. We discussing Kamala. He's saying the same thing that I'm saying. He's saying the same thing that most of us saying. Why do she always answer her questions with Trump? Well, Trump.
To answer questions. I'll give her credit. She was stern, she was firm in her defense of her positions. But in terms of persuading conservatives or Republican-minded voters, I'm just not convinced she did it.
Lulu, what do you think the point of it was, though? I mean, is it perhaps that she wasn't trying to persuade any voters, that she's looking for clips of this to go around and energize voters she already has to show
I
us?
was about to say, hello, my friends. I disagree with both of you. Because I hate to break up such a lovely bromance, but what happened here is as follows. She went into hostile territory, and in our media environment, it's a Rorschach test. And so everyone's going to take from this what they want. There were very strong moments that she had, specifically on defending democracy and on the statements that Donald Trump has made. And that is going to be clipped, and that's going to be sent around. And people who are persuadable will look at that and say, she did well. And there are going to be clips on her responses on immigration, and people who are persuadable and think that immigration is a serious issue are going to look at that and think she did poorly. And that is the environment in which we live. But I do agree that this is a very good thing for her to do, because at this point, she needs to go on as many places as she can, and she needs to get everyone talking about her, because there are no big moments anymore.
Let me come to the chat, y'all. What do y'all think? Salute 10 mil. Salute 10 mil. What are y'all thoughts? Do y'all think that I just, like I said, for me, she doesn't do nothing for me. I need a nap says government getting too big and strong. What are y'all thoughts? You know, talk to me. What are y'all thoughts with what y'all have been hearing from Kamala lately? Are y'all convinced? Or first, let me do this. Who all are going to vote for Kamala? Drop a K. Drop a K in the chat. Drop a K on the replay. A K if you're going to be voting for Kamala. Drop a T if you're voting for Trump. Ms. Groovy says, I don't think either of them are good for us, period. Now, see, I could respect that. I need a nap says, can we get a clip of Kamala riding a bike? I can't laugh. Maybe at the end of the demonstration, I need a nap, but I gotta stay away from anything that's funny pertaining to Kamala or Trump. So just I'll play that later. Take by the lake, drop the T for Trump. I can't laugh right now, y'all. But this is serious business. We 2 weeks away now. We 2 weeks away. Username, drop the T. I'm not gonna hold y'all that much long. I got 2 more clips I'm gonna run, and then I'm gonna let y'all get out of here. Tim Mills says, if I could vote in the U.S. election, Trump. They're saying that Trump is leading now. They're saying that Trump is leading now. All right.
That are going to make their product in the USA. We're going to protect those companies with strong tariffs, because I'm a believer in tariffs. I'm not sure that you are. I don't think you are, but I congratulate you on your career. But to me, the most beautiful word in the dictionary is tariff. And it's my favorite word. It needs a public relations firm. But to me, it's the most beautiful word in the dictionary.
Tariffs, do you think that will bring in the revenues? To use another bipartisan group, Pearson Institute, they say they only bring in $200 billion. That's barely the cost of 2 of your promises.
Yeah, but that's like, for what company are you talking about, okay? Look, I brought in with tariffs, and I was just getting started. Then COVID came, and we had because I tell you what, I did a very good job in COVID. Nobody knew what the hell it was. I call it the China virus because I like being a little more accurate. But when that came, we got hundreds of billions of dollars just from China alone, and I hadn't even started yet. But tariffs are two things, if you look at it. Number one, it's for protection of the companies that we have here and the new companies that will move in, because we're going to have thousands of companies coming into this country. We're going to grow it like it's never grown before, and we're going to protect them when they come in, because we're not going to have somebody undercut them. And I could give you an example of this if you want. Would you like me to? Because it just
give me a quick example, then I will come back.
I just found out about it. So I've been talking about for the last year about Detroit and how horribly it has been. It's just horrible, because we've been talking about Detroit's coming back for 40 years. And it's never come back. And it's very dependent on the car industry. Well, they've lost 60% of the business over a long period of time. And what happened is I found out A friend of mine builds auto plants. That's all he does. He builds auto plants. That's what he's good at. He doesn't want to build an apartment. All he wants to build is, and he builds the biggest in the world. And for the last year and a half, if anybody has heard me speak, I was talking about Mexico as a tremendous challenge for us right now. Tremendous. China is building massive auto plants in Mexico. And they're going to build them, and they're going to take those cars and sell them into the United States. They're very near the border, and they're going to have all the advantages and none of the disadvantages. And that's going to be the end of Michigan. It's going to be the end of, frankly, South Carolina. Going to be the end of everything. So I've been talking about this, and I said to him about 9 months ago, I said, you know what? I want you to do me a favor, John. His name is John. I don't want to give his last name because he might not like it. But I said, I want to see an auto plant. I want to go and see one of these, you know, you press a button and everything works, right? I want to see one of the big ones. He said, all right, good. I said, where do we go? I'd like to go to Michigan. I'd like to go to someplace in the United States. He said, no, we can't do that. Why? We're not building anything big in the United States. That's not where we don't build the big ones here. I said, where are you building the biggest ones? He said, in Mexico. We're building giant plants, the biggest plants anywhere in the world. In Mexico, I said, so you mean they're going to make cars cheaply? They have advantages over labor and other things, and they're going to sell them into the United States, and they're going to put Michigan out of business. Is that what? I don't know anything about that. All I do is build the plants. If you want to see a plant, we'll go to Mexico. I'll show you the biggest plant in the world.
Wow. What do y'all make of that? Now, I'm going to take Ms. Groovy's comment. Ms. Groovy says they did a study with kids, and the kids said, we are voting for a liar or a felon. Who would they vote for? The kids said neither. I sad. Salute Lush Orion. Salute Lush Orion. So they did a study with kids. Who would y'all vote for? A liar. We know who they are calling the liar. Or the felon. We know who they're calling the felon. Which one would y'all vote for? And the kids said neither. Lush Orion says, my God, my brain is melting. Now, I'm going to just be brief and then I'll let y'all get out of here. Now, Beyoncé, what do y'all think about Beyoncé joining Kamala Harris on stage at this up-and-coming rally in Houston, Texas? Username says, my pocket felt better with Trump. We need a president who cares for us, not for illegals and for the woke. I agree. Now, Beyonce is going to be joining her on stage. See, to me, it's high school all over again. You know, the popular crowd. You know, and what do the popular kids, what did they specialize in? The popular kids. They specialize in recruiting people. Y'all notice that? Go back to high school. Go back to when y'all was in high school. Remember the popular kids? They specialized in recruiting people, right? And if you wasn't a part of their crowd, you was considered an off-brand. You was considered a nobody. But when you dissect the popular kids, when it played out and when life played out, the majority of the popular kids ended up in prison, ended up on drugs, or ended up just not being successful in life. Now, those over there, the outcasts, the ones that people talk bad about, the ones that people pushed to the side and said all these evil things about, when it played out and then later on in life, they became successful. This just reminds me of a popular crowd. It's like high school all over again. Okay, the Democrat Party. All right, let's see all the popular people that we can recruit. Oprah, Obama, Steve Harvey, right? And many others. But what have any of them done for the people? What have they done, honestly? So when I look at it, that's all I see. I'm just telling y'all, when I look at the Kamala and all that, I just see high school all over again. Y'all want to know what I see when I look at Trump? I see some crooks. I see some criminals. I'm being honest. I see some crooks and criminals getting it done. You know what I mean? But one thing about the crooks and the criminals, they was about their work. You know what I mean? And the founding forefathers was crooks and criminals. The founding forefathers was England's worstest criminals. And many of us are criminals. So, you know what I mean? But I'm just telling y'all what I see. When I look at Trump and them, I look at a bunch of crooks and criminals. You know what I mean? That get the job done. When I look at Kamala, I just see high school kids all over again. A popular crowd. You know what I mean? They look good. They dress good. You know, they say fancy things. Look, I appreciate everybody for pulling up. Let me take a few comments, and then I'm going to let y'all get out of here. 80s Baby says, I don't know one is better than the other. Ms. Groovy says, bullying and use their popularity to be mean. Facts. Anita Knapp says, Hillary did what with Alien? Michelle says, they are all successful people. Anita Knapp says, when Hillary Clinton went on Ellen, I knew politics were going down the drain. Lush says, it doesn't matter who we vote for. The president doesn't run much. The House and Senate have the real power. Facts. And I discussed that early on in this demonstration. The House and the Senate is where the power is at. Ms. Groovy says, the criminals can't vote. Lush says, Trump ain't did nothing for me but dance weirdly in front of a camera. Anita Nat says, work some overtime next term. Username says, respect, brother. Lush says, Biden ain't did nothing for me but fall down some stairs. I had a hearty laugh. I got to go, y'all, because I do not want to get the laughing and joking. Look, I appreciate everybody for pulling up. Salute, and I'll see y'all on the next demonstration. Salute, everybody.